Hey everyone, it's Brandy and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be talking about all the books that I got in February. So I told myself that I was going to be better about buying books, but as you will see once I start going through these books, I didn't do such a good job in February. I was doing really good at the beginning of the month. I only really had my pre-orders and book boxes, and I think I had got one or two other books. And then as the month went along, I just got quite a few more, and I have a problem. We're just going to leave it at that. I do have a stack of my February new releases. So this is all of those. And I think I will start with those and then go into everything else. And I believe I'm going to actually go in the order that these came out in. Actually, I'm going to start with the books that I did get in book boxes, because I'm pretty sure, like I said, that those did come out in January, like the end of January. But that is The Hazelwood by Melissa Albert. This is the copy that I got in my OwlCrate box, and this is the copy of it that I got in my FairyLoot box. I have unboxings for both of these boxes. If you guys are interested in seeing what was in these two boxes, you can definitely check in the card up above, and then also just go to my channel, because I always have both unboxings posted as long as I do unboxing videos for them. I have a folder specifically for unboxings, so you guys could definitely check that out. I don't know if I'm going to be keeping both of these at this point. I still have not read the story, but once I do, I will decide if I enjoy the story enough to have both copies. So I don't know much about the story, but I do know that it is centered around dark fairy tales. What I have heard other people talk about it, the main character's grandmother is a really famous novelist, and she has recently died on her estate, which I believe is called the Hazelwood. Someone who claims to be a character from one of her grandmother's stories comes and kidnaps her mom, and then she receives a warning like, don't come to the Hazelwood or something like that. I'm not really sure where the warning comes from, but then she teams up with someone who knows her grandmother's stories really well to try to figure out what's going on and what happened to her mom, and I think maybe to try to get her mother back. Honestly, I don't know if that's really what this book is about. That is what I have gathered from hearing other people talk about it. So the next book that I picked up, which was technically a pre-order, was The Bells by Dhonielle Clayton. It follows this girl named Camilla, and in this world all people are born gray and damned except for the Bells, and the Bells actually have powers to make people beautiful. Another book that was a pre-order for me, which I believe actually came with the Bells, was Food Wars Volume 22. I just recently talked about this one in my February wrap-up, so you guys already know that I have read this one, and it is one that is part of a series that I love, and I can't really talk about what this one is about, but you guys should definitely go check out Food Wars if you haven't already. It's amazing, and I believe most people will love it. And the last two books that came out in February actually came out on the same day. The first one of those was A Princess in Theory by Alyssa Cole. I had read the e-arc that I received from Edelweiss, and after that I decided that I wanted to own a physical copy so I can reread this in the future. And the last February release, which was another one that I pre-ordered, was Daughter of the Siren Queen by Tricia Levenseller. And I can't really get into what this one is about, but the first book follows this girl named Alosa, and she is the daughter of the Pirate King, which is the title of the first book in this duology. And at the very beginning of the story, she kind of sets herself up to be kidnapped by enemy pirates in order to search their ship for a missing piece of a map so they can find this hidden island or something of that nature. And yeah, we kind of follow her on her journeys after she allows herself to be captured. The next one I have is God's Grave by Jay Kristoff. This is the second book in the Nevernight trilogy, or the Nevernight Chronicles. I'm pretty sure that I actually technically bought this one in January, but I bought it off of like one of those Facebook book selling groups. The next couple books that I have here are children's books, and if you have watched my Black History Month recommendations video, then you have seen me mention both of these. I actually picked these up for the video. But the first one I have is Little Leaders, Bold Women in Black History by Vashti Harrison. This is just a book that has a bunch of black women that have had some type of impact throughout black history. And then the other children's book that I picked up was Mufaro's Beautiful Daughters by John Steptoe. I just talked about this one in my February wrap up, but this one follows two sisters who are Mufaro's daughters, and he always talks about how beautiful his daughters are. One of his daughters, her name is Nyashi. She is known as being kind as well as being beautiful. And her sister Manyara is known as being selfish, bad-tempered, and spoiled. And one day the king makes a declaration that he is ready to take a wife, and he wants the most beautiful and most worthy woman to be his wife. So the father decides, after something that one of the other daughters says to him, that he can't make the choice between the two of them, and that he wants to take the two of them before the king and have the king choose between them, and whoever's decision or whatever choice he goes with, that is going to be the best decision. But obviously one of the sisters doesn't like that answer from her father, so she kind of takes off on her own to try to get there first to become the queen. And that's kind of what the story follows. The next book that I picked up is Between the Blade and the Heart by Amanda Hawking. This was one that I kind of stumbled upon when I was looking up new releases at one point, and it sounded interesting. And then I can't remember who it was, but I heard someone talking about it kind of recent, like within the past month, talking about this one on their channel. And they said it was a quick, fast, kind of urban fantasy, paranormal romance type of read. And I felt like that would be a good one to check out when I wanted something fast and fun to read. So I decided to pick it up, especially since I was already kind of interested in it anyway. Next book that I have, I actually picked up from the dollar store, I think a couple weeks ago. I went out shopping with my mom, and we happened to go to the dollar store because I needed something. And I feel like a lot of people find some pretty good selections in the dollar store, but usually for me, when I go, it's a bunch of books that I just never see myself reading. But I decided to go and look through it anyway, just in case I found something. Anyway, I went and I found this book, which is a book that I have been considering picking up for a while. It's just one that I wasn't going to go out of my way because I wasn't sure if I was completely interested in it. But I saw it, and it was a dollar store, so this book for $1, I just could not pass it up, and that is The Walled City by Ryan Graudin. I don't know too much about this book. I just know it follows these characters who are in this city that is kind of walled off, and I believe there is like no law in the city, so people are kind of just running around doing whatever they want. And I saw something, I can't remember if I read it here or if I read the synopsis on Goodreads, and the main character, or at least one of the main characters, her sister gets taken. So she ends up going into the city in order to try to find her sister and kind of bring her sister out of the city, and she has to kind of try to survive while also searching for her. The next book I have here is Nyxia by Scott Rankin. I have been wanting to pick up a copy of, like a finished copy of this book for quite a while now. I received an e-arc of this book through Penguin's First to Read program, but with that one, it's like I only had access to it for a certain amount of time. So ever since I finished reading the book, I just haven't had it, and I don't know, for some reason I just kept putting it off. I guess because I figured I read it and I was gonna pick up a finished copy probably around the time the second book came out. This book follows a boy named Emmett, and he is basically recruited by this company to go off into space to mine this material called Nyxia. So he finds out that he's actually one of 10 that's being recruited, but after they have gone and signed contracts and all of this stuff to kind of lock them into this deal, they find out that not all of them are actually going to be going off into space, and I think only about half of them or something like that are going to be allowed to actually go off to complete this task that they were brought in to do. So they're kind of all fighting against each other in order to make sure they lock in that spot so they can get, you know, to what they're trying to do, because they're all trying to fight for money, because I think they're all underprivileged, or they come from situations where they feel like they need this money in order to either help themselves or help their families. And we're following Emmett as he is going through this experience. I haven't heard nearly enough people talking about this book, and I feel like it's another one that people should pick up. It is a science fiction novel, so if you're interested in like science fiction type novels, I think you guys should definitely check this one out. So we're getting down to the last couple books. The next one that I picked up was another manga, and that is Everyone's Getting Married, Volume 1. And the story and art is by Izumi Miyazono. I think that's how you say the author's name. I don't know too much about this one. I just know that the main female character, she is, I think she's 24 years old, and she wants to get married, and she wants to be a homemaker. She wants to, you know, basically be at home supporting her husband, be a stay-at-home mom, those type of things. And I'm not exactly sure, it's like maybe her boyfriend or whoever she's dating doesn't want that. I'm not really sure. I haven't read this one yet. The next book that I have here is The Iron King by Julie Kagawa. This is the first book in the Iron Fae series, I believe. I have read a couple books by this author before. I have been wanting to pick up this series for a while now. Besides it being a story that deals with Fae, I really don't know anything about it. So I'm just hoping that I will enjoy it. The next book I have is Simon versus the Homo Sapiens Agenda by Becky Albertalli. I have been wanting to pick this book up for a while now. I feel like that was a big thing with books that I bought for the most part this month. Books that I have been wanting to read for a while. I didn't pick this one up because of all the hype surrounding it, and I've been kind of waiting for the hype to die down, but it hasn't really since this book has come out. And then on top of that, since the movie is releasing, I think next week, or maybe this week when this video is going up sometime soon, there's like a new wave of hype for this one. The second to last book that I have to talk about is The Coldest Girl in Cold Town by Holly Black. This book, I have been wanting to pick this up for years, like way before I started BookTube. I, for some reason, just never picked it up. And I have no idea why I never picked it up. But with all the hype being around The Cruel Prince, which just recently came out by this author, I finally decided to pick it up. The last book that I have to show off today is a book that I actually won in a giveaway. So when Jay Kristoff did his cover reveal for his new book, he posted a giveaway on Twitter. Surprisingly, I won. I was really not expecting that at all. I kind of even forgot that I entered into the giveaway until I got a tweet one day. It was like, yeah, you won. I was like, oh my goodness. Anyway, I finally came in and I won a copy of, like I said, his newest solo book, an arc of it, I should say. That is Lifelike, like I said, by Jay Kristoff. And I'm pretty sure that this is the US cover. This is an arc of a US cover, and it's supposed to be coming out on May 29th, I think I saw somewhere. So yeah, I got an arc of this. I'm pretty sure this is another sci-fi novel, and I am really looking forward to this one. And it is also signed by Jay Kristoff. I'm either going to read this in April or early May, since it does come out towards the end of May. I'm not really sure about that one yet, but I'm so excited that I have a copy of this. So I'm not going to hold all the books up because I already kind of put some up because I've had to do this in segments because my camera keeps overheating, which never happened before, but it's just something that I have to deal with right now. But anyway, if you have read any of these books, let me know what you thought about them down in the comments. And if not, let me know some of the books either that you're excited for or some of the books that you picked up yourself in February. That's all I have for you guys today. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you again in the next one. Bye.